watching Study with Sudhir. This is your digital classroom. My name is Sudhir. We are looking at The Merchant of Venice, Act 3, Scene 4. We have done Act 3, Scene 1, Scene 2, Scene 3, and of course the most important Bassanio casket scene, in which Bassanio manages to guess which is the right casket, the lead casket, and thereby manages to win the hand of Portia in marriage. Now in this particular scene, it is set in Belmont and basically focuses on Portia, and the basic themes are that of deceit as well as loyalty and disguise. Okay, this is in a sense preparing for the court scene, what will unfold in the court scene. The idea is to ensure that the audience and the reader are aware of what is going to happen in the court scene, at least as far as Portia is concerned, but both Bassanio, Graciano, and of course Antonio will be blissfully unaware. Okay, so that is what brings in also a bit of the comic element as far as the Merchant of Venice is concerned, right? So it opens in Belmont in a room in Portia's house with Portia, Nerissa, Lorenzo, Jessica, and Balthazar being the characters in this particular scene. Now Lorenzo, who is the person who is going to marry Jessica, the daughter of Shylock, says to Portia, saying, "Madam, although I speak it in your presence, you have a noble and a true conceit." Conceit means understanding. "Of godlike amity," amity means friendship, "which appears most strongly in bearing thus the absence of your lord. But if you knew to whom you show this honor," he is referring to Antonio, "how true a gentleman you send relief, how dear a lover of my lord your husband, I know you would be prouder of the work than customary bounty can enforce you." Important lines. And why are they important? Let's do first the paraphrasing as to what these lines essentially convey. Lorenzo is saying, "Ma'am, I hope you do not really mind my saying that I'm saying this because I say it in your presence, but I really admire your respect, your noble respect for friendship, the friendship of Bassanio for Antonio. And that actually ended in letting go of your husband soon after he had predicted the right casket, chosen the right casket, won your hand in marriage, and let him go off to help his friend who is in a spot of bother, in a spot of real trouble. And if you knew the man you are helping out, that is Antonio, and if you knew what a faithful gentleman, what a true gentleman he is, and how much he loves your husband, that is Bassanio, you would in fact be even more proud of the kindness, right, than you normally would be." Okay. Now, what is the purpose of these dialogues? Now, these dialogues help in kind of exalting the stature of Antonio in the play ahead of the all-important trial scene, because remember, he is the protagonist of the play, he is the Merchant of Venice, and it helps these kind of dialogues said by Lorenzo. Of course, we know that Lorenzo is favorably disposed towards Antonio, but these kind of dialogues help create a more favorable impression about Antonio in the minds of the audience out there, okay, ahead of the court scene. Now Portia says, "I never did repent for doing good, nor shall not now, for in companions that do converse and waste the time together, whose souls do bear an equal yoke of love, there must be needs a like proportion of lineaments, of manners, and of spirit, which makes me think that this Antonio, being the bosom lover of my lord, must needs be like my lord." So basically Portia saying that I have never kind of repented or regretted doing any good, okay, and I do not do that now either. And she says, "Friends," and this is basically an important passage which is on the theme of friendship. So there could be passages which could come between, said by Bassanio with reference to Antonio, or Antonio with reference to Bassanio. Remember the one where he speaks about that how he would want him to kind of write his epitaph, etc., or something like this, which is also a commentary on friendship. You need to be kind of well versed with the understanding and also be able to link it to the larger theme of friendship, which is a running theme throughout the MOV. Okay. So she says, "Friends who spend a lot of time together and really care equally for each other also must have several qualities, several characteristics, several traits which are in common, right? And since Antonio happens to be the best friend of my husband, that is Bassanio, they must be very similar men. Otherwise, how could they really be best friends, right? So in that case, the money I have sent, the money that she has now sent, because we heard that in Act 3, Scene 2, towards the end, she says, whatever is mine, that whole dialogue about 1/3 and everything, that everything is actually yours. So she says, the money that I have sent is actually a very small price to pay to rescue someone who resembles Bassanio, who is like my own soul, right? In purchasing the semblance of my soul, right? And anyway, and then she says, anyway, let's change the subject, because it seems like I'm praising myself too much, I'm flattering myself too much. So then she says, I have actually a favor to ask you, Lorenzo. Will you please take care of the management of my house here in Belmont until my husband comes back, until my husband returns? So she's asking Lorenzo to take charge of the house, manage of my house until my Lord's return. For my own part, I have toward heaven breathed this secret vow to live in prayer and contemplation, only attended by Nerissa here until her husband and my Lord's return. Referring to Graciano and Bassanio, there is a monastery 2 miles off. So it's almost like an alibi. An alibi means, you're creating a story so that people don't know the real purpose, the real motive, the real intention of Portia. And there we will abide. I do desire you not to deny this imposition, the which my love and some necessity now lays upon you. So basically she's saying that I have sworn to God that I will live a life of prayer and contemplation. Okay, prayer and contemplation. Contemplation is essentially referring to meditation, right? Till the time that my husband Bassanio returns. And only Nerissa, my friend, will keep me company. There is a monastery 2 miles away from here in Belmont where we will be staying, and please say that you agree, because I really need you to do this so that you can take care of my house in Belmont. Lorenzo says, of course, I will do anything you ask. Portia says, I've already spoken to my staff about this. They will consider you and Jessica, right, the other couple in this particular play, masters of this house until such time that Bassanio and I, in place of Bassanio and myself. So goodbye till we meet again. And Jessica also reacts, says that, I wish your ladyship all heart's content. And Jessica and Lorenzo exit the scene. Now, Portia refers to Balthazar, who is a loyal servant of Portia. Now she says, you have always been a very faithful servant to me. I have ever found the honest true. Honest true means honest and faithful. So let me find these still. So I hope that, you will continue to be so, right? And then she gives Balthazar a letter. Now, she says that take this letter to Padua, okay, Padua, okay, in speed to Padua. See thou render this into my cousin's hand, and there you need to give it to my cousin, which is Dr. Bellario, who is a doctor of law, right? And do this as quickly as possible, and take whatever letters and clothes that he gives to you, and then take to the public ferry that goes back and forth to Venice. Okay, so we are talking about 3 different towns out here. Venice, of course, is a big city. Padua and Belmont, which are not too far from each other. So she wants him to travel from Belmont to Padua, hand over the letter to Dr. Bellario, and after which come with his clothes and letters to Venice, okay, in time for the trial scene. Okay, so she says, now you don't waste time talking now, not that Balthazar is talking. So she says, don't waste time in words, but get thee gone, I shall be there before thee. That I will reach Venice before you reach Venice from Padua. Okay, I will meet you out there. Balthazar says, I will go as fast as I can. Portia says, come on, Nerissa, we need to do a lot of things to do. I have work in hand that you yet know not of. We will see our husbands before they think of us. That we will actually, they thought they will only return to Belmont and see their respective wives. But she says that we will actually meet them even before they can think of meeting us or missing us in any way. So Nerissa says, shall they see us? So Portia now reveals the plot, and this is for the benefit of the audience, because remember, Graciano, Bassanio and of course Antonio will be unaware of it, but the rest of the audience and the readers like you and me will come to know of what is Portia's intention, right? So she says, I have, they will, Nerissa, but we will be disguised as men, right? They shall, Nerissa, but in such a habit that they shall think we are accomplished. That is, we are accomplished. That is, we are possessed with the characteristics of men, right? Which in reality we do not have, right? Obviously, I will hold the any wager when we are both accoutred like young men. I will prove the prettier fellow of the two, right? So she says, I am willing to bet for any amount of money that when we are dressed up, right, adorned, that is accoutred like young men, I will actually be the smarter youth and wear my dagger with the braver grace, right? With wear my dagger as in the the weapon with a lot of grace. So basically saying that I will be more handsome than you are when we are dressed up like young men, and I will wear my sword as in the dagger, which is a small sword, very gracefully, and speak like a teenager of a boy, and speak and also walk with a very manly kind of mannerism and strides instead of my very lady-like steps, right, in a manly stride, and speak of phrase like a fine bragging youth, and tell quaint lies how honorable ladies sought my love, which I denying, they fell sick and died. So she says that I will actually tell a lot of lies, in a very graceful kind of manner about honorable ladies who actually fell in love with me, with my kind of handsome looks, and they got sick and died because I rejected their overtures. Okay, and he says, then I will start feeling sorry for them, wishing I had not killed those ladies who had evinced interest in me, and I will tell 20 lies, 20 of these puny lies, insignificant lies. I will actually say, so men will think that I graduated from school at least a year ago, that I have just graduated out of law school, and I know 1,000 immature tricks like that, 1,000 raw tricks on those bragging jacks, and I intend to use all of that, like on those boastful fellows. I will also use this kind of very crude schoolboyish kind of jokes. Okay, now she says, which I will practice, and then she says, I will tell you about the entire plan while we are traveling in the carriage, which is actually waiting for us at the gate of our house in Belmont. So hurry up, because we have 20 miles to cover today. So that's the distance between Venice and Belmont, 20 miles. So we need to cover that distance today. So that's essentially as far as Act 3 Scene 4 is concerned, taking the play a little forward. The most significant part is this particular passage revealing the plot by Portia, as well as that particular portion where Lorenzo speaks about Bassanio and Antonio, and the theme of friendship dialogue by Portia. Of course, there is also a similar piece of dialogue in Act 4 in the trial scene. Now, a few of the other points that I would like to kind of point out is about the friendship, which I've already highlighted. And she also says, uses the phrase my soul. They refer to Bassanio because obviously he is now the love of her soul, right? Balthazar, because Balthazar is an important kind of a character, though he does not have a great role to play in the Merchant of Venice, but he is an important element. He is the honest and trustworthy servant of Portia. Padua essentially is also about 20 miles. It's almost like a triangle, and it was known for its very famous law school. So there is an attention to detail as far as Shakespeare is concerned, that he has not kind of named any city. He has named a city which people of that time would be familiar with, that this is real. Padua indeed is known for its famous law school. Now, how does Portia plan to behave in the Duke's court? So those are important characteristics, and that is something which you should know. Suppose you get a passage from this monologue which she has said, dialogue that she has said to Nerissa, revealing the details of her plot. You need to know the rest of the details also as to how does Portia intend to dress up like and intend to behave, and that is something which you would be knowing. So basically it shows two things. One, her ability to kind of think of a way to get Antonio, who is Bassanio's best friend, out of trouble. Also, the manner in which she will execute the plot is also something very important. So this scene essentially preparing us for the trial scene and keeping the audience and the reader a step ahead of the other three protagonists of the play, Antonio, Bassanio and Gratiano. I hope this is all very clear. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in Act 3, Scene 5 next in order to complete the entire Act 3. Thank you very much for watching.